Hashtag Trending has been brought to you this week by CDW Canada Tech Talks. If you're passionate about technology and innovation, and you probably are if you're listening to this podcast, check out KJ Burke as he and his industry experts dive into the latest trends, insights, and strategies shaping the tech landscape in Canada. From hybrid cloud to AI adoption, CDW Canada Tech Talks covers it all. Don't miss out. Visit cdw.ca/tech talks to tune in today. There'll be a link in the show notes. Zoho partners with NVIDIA to deploy NVIDIA's new open source LLM in business applications. An MIT spin-off offers to revolutionize AI with ultra-efficient liquid neural networks. Google's DeepMind releases an open source tool to detect AI-generated text. Welcome to Hashtag Trending for Friday. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. It was an incredible week this week. I had a tough time picking the stories for you today, and some of those will roll over to Monday. But just in terms of amazing announcements, two of these grabbed my attention. 9 days ago on October 15th, NVIDIA rocked the AI world by releasing a new open source large language model. Now, while it hasn't been fully tested in production yet, the initial indications are that this model is competitive with, and in some cases, it might even outperform OpenAI's GPT-4o model. It was unique in that NVIDIA promised that this would be an open source model, releasing not just the model, but the weightings that drive the model. And NVIDIA has promised to release some of the training code as well. It's not that everything is open source, but it's fair to say this is a pretty strong open source model. The model was released on Hugging Face, and for those who have the skills, ability, and hardware to use it, it's there. Now, clearly, NVIDIA will benefit commercially as this model is put into wide usage, but it's still a great example of a for-profit company helping to democratize AI. And today, 9 days after the official launch, Zoho Corporation has announced it will help bring the model to commercial usage by leveraging NVIDIA's open source large language models, including NVIDIA's NeMo, to build and deploy advanced AI capabilities across its software-as-a-service applications. This collaboration positions Zoho as a leader in bringing cutting-edge AI models to commercial usage, utilizing open source weights and training data provided by NVIDIA. By integrating NVIDIA's AI, Zoho aims to develop large language models tailored for a wide range of business use cases. The company has invested over $10 million in NVIDIA's AI technology and GPUs in the past year, with plans to invest an additional $10 million in the coming year. This will make this new model available to Zoho's global customer base of over 700,000 businesses. And while they have enterprise customers, they have a large whack of small and medium-sized customers as well. Zoho's Director of AI, Ramprakash Ramamurthy, emphasized that the company's focus on business-driven AI solutions was at the heart of this. He said, "At Zoho, our mission is to develop LLMs tailored specifically for a wide range of business use cases. Owning our entire tech stack allows us to integrate the essential element that makes AI truly effective: context." Zoho feels that this new facility will make a real difference to companies. Early testing has shown a 60% increase in throughput and a 35% reduction in latency compared to previous open source frameworks. Zoho adds this open source offering as another way that it feels it can differentiate itself as a business platform. And while it makes the open source model available, the company also reinforced its commitment to privacy, removing yet another barrier to wider adoption of AI technology in business. Zoho has made the promise that its LLMs are compliant with privacy regulations from the ground up, and that they will not use customer data to train their AI. Since the company owns and operates its own data centers and has its own fully integrated suite of offerings, they have the control to enforce that promise. By differentiating on privacy and by making this open source model widely available, Zoho has not only raised the bar for its competition, but it has addressed some of the challenges that may be holding companies back from adopting AI more widely. And speaking of challenges to the industry, Liquid AI, a startup emerging from MIT, has introduced a new class of what they call liquid neural networks. Inspired by the neural workings of microscopic worms, these networks promise to be a major transformation of the existing transformer model of AI. The transformer model has revolutionized AI, but it has a couple of weaknesses. One is its enormous appetite for energy, and the second is the inability for us to audit it, to understand fully how it makes its decisions. Now, if the results from liquid AI match their claims and early demonstrations, they offer the promise of not only huge leaps in efficiency, but massively lower energy consumption and enhanced transparency. So unlike conventional neural networks that rely on static weights, liquid neural networks use equations to predict neuron behavior over time. And this allows for continuous learning even after the initial training. This dynamic approach not only reduces the computational demands, but also offers deeper insights into the decision-making processes of AI models. I watched a recent demonstration, and the company showed how, unlike the standard transformer models, these new liquid neural networks inherently have the ability to show step-by-step of the model's reasoning. That auditability addresses a huge issue with current large language models, where companies freely admit that humans may never be able to fully understand how a model comes to a particular decision or action. As a demonstration of the efficiency of these models, the company showed a realistic local model using a Raspberry Pi. Now, a Raspberry Pi is a tiny processor that might be the equivalent of, let's say, a 10-year-old laptop. And that recent demonstration showed a voice operating system answering questions in real time with no detectable latency on a Raspberry Pi. When you think about that ability to operate at the edge with a smaller processor, it expands the possibilities of AI. Now, the company has developed several new models, including ones for financial fraud detection, self-driving car controls, and even genetic data analysis. The models are being licensed to external companies. Industry giants like Samsung and Shopify are investing in and testing this technology. The performance of the small local models is impressive, and it makes edge computing a realistic idea, and that overcomes one of the key problems, and that's latency of cloud-based models operating at the edge. In terms of their larger model, which is still incredibly compact, Liquid AI's model with 40 billion parameters outperformed Meta's Llama 3.1 on the MMLU Pro problem set, highlighting the potential of these liquid networks in natural language processing. While the technology shows some significant promises, there are challenges in adapting the liquid neural networks to some tasks. And as we're all aware, some new offerings come to market with great demos, and they have difficulty repeating that in the real world. But the degree of performance, the promise of making AI at the edge work, the enormous difference in energy usage, and the transparency of these models make this an offering that we have to watch carefully. If they can keep the majority of their promises, Liquid AI's CEO Raman Hassani's prediction that the benefits in efficiency and transparency will encourage wider adoption in enterprise applications will be realized. And they will also challenge the rest of the industry to step up their game. Another company has rolled out an open source offering. Google's DeepMind has open sourced SynthID text, a tool designed to identify AI-generated text by embedding watermarks during content creation. It was detailed in a paper published in Nature on Wednesday. The tool aims to address issues like plagiarism, copyright violations, and misinformation by making it easier to distinguish between human-written and machine-generated content. SynthID text works by subtly influencing the language model's choice of words among equally likely options, and that embeds a unique pattern that serves as a key for later detection. Unlike traditional watermarking methods that alter content after it's produced, this approach integrates the watermarking process during text generation, and it preserves the original meaning and quality of the content. Earlier this year, SynthID text was integrated with Google's Gemini chatbots in what the company believes is the first large-scale deployment of a generative text watermark. In an analysis of about 20 million chatbot responses, DeepMind researchers found that users did not notice any difference in the quality or usefulness of the watermarked text versus unwatermarked text. Despite its promises, the tool has limitations. It performs best with longer, open-ended prompts, and it's less effective with factual queries that offer fewer word choices. The watermark will hold up against slight paraphrasing, but it becomes less reliable when the text is heavily rewritten or translated into another language. While the SynthID text has high accuracy, it's not entirely foolproof, and it will rely on widespread adoption to be most effective. With that in mind, Google's DeepMind is making SynthID text available to AI model developers to incorporate into their own systems to encourage broader industry collaboration. As the prevalence of AI-generated text continues to rise, tools like SynthID text represent a significant step towards mitigating risks associated with automated content creation. And that's just some of the big news that hit this week in AI. Stay tuned to #Trending and Tech News Day for what we think will be an amazing next few months. We're working on some new programming we hope will help you keep up with a partnership with some leaders in AI and some educational institutions. So watch this space. And that's our show for today. Thanks to our sponsors, CDW and KJ Burke's CDW Canada Tech Talks. Couldn't make this type of content available without the participation of our sponsors, and we thank them enormously. So please check out their podcast if you can. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can reach me at editorial@technewsday.ca. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a fantastic Friday.